Santa Claus makes a mistake. Ellen and Jack were very excited. It was Christmas Eve, and they meant to hang up their stockings at the end of their beds. Daddy had given each of them one of his big ones, and they were very pleased. They hung them up and then jumped into bed. "You must go to sleep quickly," Mother said, "because you know Santa Claus won't come until you're fast asleep." So Ellen and Jack shut their eyes and tried to go to sleep, and it wasn't very long before they were both fast asleep and dreaming. They slept and slept, while the clock struck 8 and 9 and 10 and 11. All the grown-ups went to bed, the lights were turned out and the house was dark. The dog slept on his rug, the cat slept in her basket. Everything was quiet, except the fire in the dining room, which made a little noise now and again when the hot coals fell together. Towards midnight, Ellen woke up suddenly. She sat up in bed, wondering what had awakened her. The nursery was dark. Jack was fast asleep. She could hear him breathing. She listened. She thought perhaps she might have been dreaming. She switched on the light and looked round the nursery. She looked at the end of the bed where she and Jack had hung their stockings. To her great disappointment, they were quite empty. "I wonder if that's because Santa Claus hasn't been yet," wondered Ellen. "Oh, how dreadful it will be if I find our stockings empty in the morning." Just as she was turning out the light, she heard the noise again. It was a funny noise, a sort of scraping, kicking noise, and then she heard a deep groan. "Goodness gracious, whatever can it be?" thought Ellen. She leant over to Jack's bed and woke him up. The scraping noise went on and on. Jack sat up and asked Ellen what all the noise was about. "Jack," said Ellen, "I couldn't help thinking it's someone stuck in the chimney downstairs. That's what it sounds like to me. Oh, Jack, do you suppose it's Santa Claus?" "I say," said Jack, "I say, suppose it is. Suppose he's stuck. Come on quickly, Ellen, we must go and see." The two children put on their dressing gowns and slippers, pushed open their door and slipped down the stairs. They went into the dining room and saw the little red fire there. They heard the dog growling in the kitchen, for he too had heard the strange noises. "Look, look," said Ellen, pointing to the fireplace. "There's a boot hanging down the chimney. Look." Sure enough, there was a boot there, a big black boot, and it was on a leg, and the leg was kicking about. As the children watched, another boot came down the chimney. "It is Santa Claus," said Jack. "He always wears big black boots in his pictures. Oh, Ellen, he's come down the wrong chimney. He'll burn himself on the fire." "I'll put it out before he does," said Ellen at once. She turned on the light and went into the kitchen. She filled a jug at the tap and carried it back to the dining room. She poured the water onto the fire. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The fire streamed up in a cloud of thick black smoke. A startled voice from the chimney said, "Hello, is anybody there? My word, this smoke is going to make me sneeze." "It's only Ellen and Jack," said Jack. "We know you're Santa Claus. We've put the fire out so you won't get burnt. That's why it's smoking so much. We've just poured some water on it. You've come down the wrong chimney, Santa Claus." "Dear, dear," said Santa Claus. "Have I really? You know I have a map showing the chimneys of every house, and the right ones, leading to the children's bedrooms, are marked with a yellow cross. And tonight the wind blew my map away, so I had to guess, and I've guessed wrong. I'm stuck here." "We could give you a pull," said Ellen. "Jack can take one leg, and I can pull the other." "Go on then," said Santa Claus. So they each took hold of a black-booted leg and pulled hard. Santa Claus came down with a rush and sat in the fireplace. A big burly man in red, with a twinkling smile and the kindest eyes the children had ever seen. "These coals are still hot," said Santa Claus, getting up in a hurry. "It's kind of you children to help me like this. Do you mind if I stay here for a little while till the reindeer I sent to look for my blown-away map come back and give it to me? I shall most likely make a few more mistakes if I go on guessing which are the right chimneys." "Oh, Santa Claus, of course you can stay as long as you like," said Ellen. "We'd simply love you to. I'll get some of my chocolates for you." "You don't suppose the grown-ups will wake up and hear me, do you?" whispered Santa Claus, suddenly remembering that there were other people in the house. "I never know what to say to grown-ups, you know. They make me shy. It's children I like." "Oh, I don't think Mummy and Daddy will wake," said Ellen. "They sleep very soundly, and Cook and Jane sleep at the top of the house. The only thing that might happen is that Spot, our dog, may bark." "Well, go and bring him here," said Santa Claus. "I have a rubber bone for him, I think. It was down on my list. One dog, one rubber bone, and he might as well have it now.
dogs don't seem to hang stockings up, so I usually give them a present straight away or put it into their baskets if they're not awake."
Jack went to fetch Spot, who seemed most delighted to see Santa Claus. He jumped upon his knee and licked his face all over.
"His tongue's as good as a sponge,"
said Santa Claus.
"Here, Spot, lick this bone for a change. I really don't think my face wants washing any more."
Jack and Ellen were so happy. It was the greatest adventure in the world to be sitting with Santa Claus, hearing him talk and laugh, and seeing him eat their chocolates. Suddenly there came a little soft knocking at the window. Santa Claus jumped up.
"That's my reindeer come back," he said.
He opened the window softly, and to the children's enormous surprise, a big furry head was pushed in. It was the head of one of the reindeer. Its antlers were so big they couldn't get inside of the window, so the reindeer could only put in its big soft nose, so long and velvety. In its mouth it held a large piece of paper.
"Thanks, reindeer,"
said Santa Claus, and he rubbed its nose.
"I'm glad to get my map back again. Have you got a bit of sugar for the old fellow, children?"
"Of course," said Ellen, and she ran to the sideboard where the basin of sugar was kept. She took out a handful of sugar lumps, and she and Jack fed the delighted reindeer. Then Santa Claus shut the window and looked at the map. It was a most curious map, showing nothing but chimneys, and the page was marked with scores of yellow crosses.
"Well, my dears," said Santa Claus with a sigh, rolling up his map, "I must be off. I've so much enjoyed this little time with you. Nice, kind creatures children are. I always did like them much better than grown-ups. I'm a bit late now because of losing this map, so I must be off. Thanks so much for your help, and the chocolates, and the sugar lumps. Do you mind letting me out the front door? I don't like to try that chimney again, you know."
The children took Santa Claus to the front door and let him out. He gave them each a big hug and disappeared into the night. They heard him whistling to his reindeer and listened to the jingling of the sleigh bells as the reindeer moved up to Santa Claus. Ellen and Jack shut the door and went up to bed. They were so excited they couldn't go to sleep.
"I'm afraid we shan't have any presents in our stockings, Ellen," said Jack. "Santa Claus won't come here now."
"Well, I don't mind," said Ellen. "I've seen him and spoken to him and fed his reindeer and given him a hug. I don't care if he never fills my stockings again. He's real and I've seen him." It was a long time before the children did at last fall asleep. And you know, in the morning when they sat up in bed, their stockings were fuller than they'd ever been before, and there were presents on the bed and on the floor too. "He did come back again," said Ellen in delight. "Oh, the darling! Look what's in our stockings, Jack. The loveliest toys we've ever had."
"Now don't say a word to anyone about us seeing Santa Claus last night and pulling him down the chimney," said Jack. "He'd like us to keep it a secret, I know. Fancy him coming back again to our house and getting the chimney right this time."
Daddy and Mummy were so surprised to see what a lot of things the children had in their stockings and on the bed. "It was a good thing you were asleep when he came," said Mummy. "He doesn't like children to see him, you know." She couldn't think why Ellen and Jack looked at one another and smiled when she said that. But I know why. Don't you?